So the American College of Sports Medicine got out a new position stand that we should all be looking at. And I'll do a quick review on this paper because it's pretty important for everyone to know what are the requirements for hypertrophy, what are the new guidelines that we need to be able to get the most out of our bodies and be able to continuously, progressively get a better physique every year in our lives. So one of the first misconceptions that the ACSM debunked for all of us is complete muscle failure. A lot of young individuals, when they first come to the gym and they start working out, they have a very strong urge to always be going for complete muscle failure when it's actually not that. It's not required to do that much effort in the gym. A lot of people always tend to go for the squats and the barbell bench press and always having back in their heads that they need to go to complete muscle failure when it's not required to. According to the latest position stand, they have synthesized a bunch of systematic reviews which looked at the effect of complete muscle failure compared to going to a few reps away from complete muscle failure, and they just found that going a few reps away from complete muscle failure is sufficient to build muscle and strength gains as well. So if you're always going to the gym and going to complete muscle failure every single time, session in, session out, you're accumulating fatigue for no reason, when you can be able to save up some of your body's energy stores and have that for recovery for the rest of the week. So as a personal trainer, we don't recommend to ever going for complete muscle failure every session, every exercise. We can only prescribe it for the exercises that are isolation exercises, that they don't have such a strong CNS fatigue on the body. It doesn't affect the nervous system as much. It doesn't take a toll on the body. So that's why we don't recommend going for complete muscle failure for every single exercise and every single session. So that's a point that you need to have in mind, and I'm happy that this new position stand have reinstated this point, because a lot of people always like to argue about it. There's a lot of controversy about this. So I'm happy that they finally came out and just said, hey guys, you don't need to always be doing a complete muscle failure. You can be training 2 reps, 2 RIR, which is reps in reserve, 2 reps away from muscle failure, and you're good to go. Another thing is there's a lot of people that always have this thought that we need to have a high frequency in training. We need to be training 2 to 3 times a week for each muscle group, and that's the best thing for hypertrophy. When the newest study that we just have, the position stand, suggests otherwise. We don't need frequency. The frequency isn't the variable that we need for hypertrophy. Frequency has another role for hypertrophy, and it's not that you need to be training the muscle group 2 to 3 times a week to be able to build muscle. That's not the strong drive for hypertrophy here. What is frequency actually doing is it manages your volume. So, for example, an intermediate lifter who is built a good amount of muscle and he needs more sets to be able to build muscle, say for example around 20 sets per muscle group, he won't be able to do 20 sets in a single session. That's pretty tough. If you go to the gym yourself and you try to have more than 4 to 5 workouts of heavy lifting, it's pretty tiring. So doing 20 sets of just one muscle group in a single day, it takes a lot of toll on the body. That's why we manage that volume by prescribing and giving the doses of their volume for separate days, 2 to 3 days during the week. So I can just give 10 sets on one day or 8 sets on one day, and put in on another day 3 sets, another day 5 sets, and I can just add up all of my sets that are 20 and just divide them on 2 to 3 days. And that way I don't cause my trainee to accumulate a lot of fatigue and just have a very bad recovery and just doesn't even get motivated to continue training. So that's what I love about the position stand, that they debunked the frequency controversy the frequency controversy that is occurring online. And a lot of the youth, when I train them, they always mention this frequency thing when it's not that essential to include in your program design, when you could, but it's not it's not the essential aspect of hypertrophy. Other stuff, and I won't go in details, is the other things that got debunked in this position stand is blood flow restriction training, going time under tension training. Periodization is a big one. Periodization, by the way, there's a lot of people that use periodization when they start entering the intermediate advanced level, and they from the systematic reviews, all of the research that they synthesized, they found out that progressive overload is much more important than periodization in itself. They found out that people that did a non-periodized program compared to a periodized program, with each of them aligning to the progressive overload element, they found there was no significance in the hypertrophy in both groups, and that is pretty shocking to all of us, that we always tended to have this trust in periodization, that it's different from a non-periodized program. Though we should mention that it is managing fatigue, managing different periodization techniques for competitions is still understudied amongst the research fitness space. So we do have a lack of studies to be able to back up the complete decision that periodized programs is a waste of time. Though we could confidently say that progressive overload is still an essential aspect of building muscle, and periodization per se isn't the most important factor so far by all of the research studies that we have in our hands.